Good morning, everybody. Hey, oh boy, hold on. Oh, I just got my pre-planned here. Please bear with me. Okay, just got our pre-plan. So once again, today it is good after take two. Hey, everybody, Johnny B. Good here. Greetings from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Today is Tuesday, March 12, 2019. Local time is 12:24. Temperature is 47 degrees, and Grace also confirms that. So there you go. All right, we are empty. We have been empty since I don't know, about 2 o'clock last night or something. And I think the last video was that they allowed me to stay here, which was really nice. And but now it's time to go. My boss has requested me, ordered me, and instructed me to go to Harrisonburg, Virginia, which is 163 miles from here. And we are headed for the Volvo dealership. Man, I tell you, this spinner is just phenomenal. Thank you, um, Hot Lips Bill Houlihan. It was Bill Houlihan that sent me the spinner. Thank you, Bill. I just hope the boss will let me keep it on the steering wheel. Yeah, a lot of you have been sending about the legality of all the legality of spinners and all that stuff, and uh, a lot of you are convinced that it is illegal. I've seen them. I don't know whether they enforce them or not, but I'm gonna keep it on for a while. Although I do wish there was. I mean, you don't really need a spinner to drive forward, but you do need a spinner. I mean, you don't need it. You don't need anything but a steering wheel. But it would be nice. It is so helpful to drive with the spinner. I mean, to back up with the spinner on. I just wish there was a spinner that you can just lock in. You know how they that little gizmo they use at guitars, where they clip that little thing on the guitar whenever they want whenever they want to choke the guitar, they have that little clip and it just clips on there. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? I wish there was a quick disconnect. I don't know why we're headed south. Oh well. Way station ahead. Ooh, here we go. Yeah, I wish there was a quick disconnect where you can, whenever you need it, just connect it real fast. Oops. Oops, 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 oops. We could have made it. I think we could have made it. Let me put you on that camera. I'll be right back. I'm trying not to stick with one camera at a time because I know some of you don't like that particular camera, so I thought if I mix different camera angles, at least one of it you'd be it would be your preference, I suppose. All right, let's see. Scale is closed. There you go. Very nice. Somewhat the big word is out. Boy, I slept and slept and slept like a baby over there at that parking lot. The reefer was not running, the truck engine wasn't running, the APU was barely running. It only ran to trickle charge the batteries, and I had the bunk heater at minimum. It was on the right angle, which is up and towards the right. And it was a perfect sleeping night. We are to stay on this road for 0.7 miles, Maryland 4 North, Washington Stephanie Roper Highway. Oh, I got an update for you guys. I just talked to my sister this morning, and either she's going to be out today or tomorrow. And no bypass surgery. It was just one of those minor procedures. I don't know anything minor about it. They put a stent on one of her arteries, I suppose. It shocked me. I mean, she's only 40 years old. But then again, I bet you that kind of gives a shocker to a person, thought of dying. But I talked to her, and she seemed very... She was, she's up to normal. I could tell she was still in shock of what happened. But She's in good spirit. She's still in bed though. Alright, we are to stay on this road for 7.7 miles to Interstate 95 South, Interstate 495 South, Beltway South, Richmond, Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia. Alright, Elizabeth, I call her Louie or Lisa. I was the one that took care of her when she was a baby. Me and her were buddies. She's my half sister. Not that it matters, because it doesn't. But anyway, when I was in middle school, she basically, her and me were hanging out, and I used to sleep on a top bunk. And every Saturday morning she would climb up there and bite my toe because she wants breakfast and cereals, and she wants me to watch cartoons with her. That was her routine. And then when my dad bought me a how many of you remember the mountain bike brand called Ross? Yeah, my dad bought me a mountain bike Ross, and it was also the time where they came out with bicycle seat for kids, for infants, or little kids. And I would strap her on the back of my bicycle, and me and her would go biking all over the place. "55, but officer, I can't drive 55. And I guess the commander-in-chief and Miko are driving down to Milwaukee from Sheboygan, and they're gonna go and pay her a visit at the hospital. Oh, I made some coffee this morning. I forgot to film it. And since I didn't have any coffee filter, I used paper towel. I hope it was all right. It's a little weak. I guess I didn't put enough, but it'll do. It will certainly do. The thing that I don't like about the French press, it leaves such a mess. All that coffee ground, and I don't know. I don't want to waste water. See if you agree with this statement. You know, your parents always tell you, you're wasting water at your house, right? How can you waste water when you can't destroy water? When you let the water in your house run, you're not really wasting water, you're wasting energy. You don't pay for the water, you pay for the energy to bring that water to your house, right? Is there a way to destroy water? There's always a way to clean water, even if it's contaminated with, you know, I don't know about nuclear contamination, but I think there's a way to clean that. I've talked about this many, many times. Imagine water, well, in everything there's a molecule, there's a certain, the smallest amount of, you know, one part, how do I say this? Yeah, there's a molecule in water, one molecule. For example, if one tiny little drop of water consists of 1 million molecules of water, let's just say that one particular drop of water, each molecule can talk to each other. They can share stories of where they've been. I would imagine some of them would say, oh man, I was living in a red oak, you know, or a red sequoia tree in California for the last 3,000 years. Or some would say, I was the, you know, I was a water or blood through the king of whatever. Some would say, yeah, the King Lord Jesus drank me one time when he was thirsty. And one would say, yeah, I was in the ocean, in the deepest part of the ocean for millennia. It was dark and cold down there. You get the point, right? So what if a molecule of water could talk, and they could share their experiences of where they've been, and then take that drop of water and put it in the ocean, and all the molecules of the ocean will talk to each other, kind of like the internet, sharing stories of where they've been. Brilliant. I don't know, I find it fascinating, really. Some would say, yeah, I was the brain in Ted Bundy. Oh, it was horrible to see him butcher all those women. Think of a scenario of where that water could have been that you find it very interesting. Some would say, yeah, I was in the cloud. Or I was in the iceberg. I don't know why I think of these things. Okay, just a little bit of an update. I was gonna mount my cameras outside today since it's a very busy or very beautiful day, only to find out that I don't have the mounts for it. But I ordered them and they should be home next time I get home. Oh wait, we gotta go south. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Thank you, four-wheeler. Thank you, thank you. Okay, we are to stay on this road for 7 miles. Interstate 95 local, 495 local. I think we still got to go through the scaleless way station, right? I think we do. How do I explain this? When my dad, in the height of my dad's life in the island, when I was a little boy, my dad found this swampy property, beach property that nobody wanted. I mean, it was a swamp. But in his engineering wisdom, he saw the potential of this place. Where people saw a swamp, he saw an opportunity. So, being a self-taught engineer that he was, he developed this land into something a lot of people would envy, you know. And I was talking about this the other day. I think the video of what it called the sweet memories of my childhood, I think it is. Anyway, we had more than half of the village employed. My dad did. And we had hundreds of people each day just working, busying. I mean, it was the only source of income for many locals. And as I mentioned this many times in the past, I grew up in a two-world. Think about. I hate to use the analogy of I was living in a kingdom or a palace, because we were not kings and I was not a prince. But just a little bit of an illustration is, I grew up in a very modern house. We had indoor plumbings. We were the first one to have electricity in the island, and we had refrigerators. We had, as I said, it was a modern American house, but with a twist. It was in the Philippines, in the island, and we had no windows, we had no doors. I mean, people came and go. I mean, it just was not a big deal. I suppose we had blinds for typhoon seasons, but we didn't have anything to keep people out. People came and go. Talking about it just, it makes me want to cry. It was a sweet memory. Sorry. But anyway, I live in that environment, but I got to also live in and have friends with kids in the village. So I grew up in both worlds. And almost each and every one in the village, I called them, uncles and aunts, and basically one of those non-relative uncles and aunts. And I was one of them, But in this particular story, I want to point out a certain individual called Art. His name was Arturo. My dad called him Art or Chief. And at the very young age of 17, I think, my dad took him in and entrusted him with everything. And he became my dad's trustee, and in fact, he lived in our house as one of us. He eventually got married, eventually got his kids. I think one or two of his kids were actually born in the house. And so him in particular, I call him Papa. He was my second dad. He was my dad when my dad was away on business trips or whatever. And that's how close I became to Art. And his kids, I consider his kids my brothers and sisters. Anyway, so his kids are the one that I am trying to help out right now. And if you remember, a couple of months ago, he got married, and I gave him about $1,000 on a wedding gift. And then second after that, I gave him about $1,500 to buy him a motorcycle. Can you imagine $1,500 for a brand new Honda motorcycle? Pretty cheap, right? But the motorcycles in the Philippines are very different. They almost look like toys and mopeds. So I've been spending, some money on sending him cameras and video equipments and stuff. Recently, he's the one that was entertaining Jackie. And his wife recently took a picture of the island, and it was the most beautiful sunset. I cried. It made me cry watching that picture. I'll try to post it on this video if I remember it. But boy, oh boy, talk about what a beautiful sight. And that was my life. That was my joy when that was my childhood. And it made me so sad that when my dad and my mom divorced, everything just fell apart, and Art had to go and find him a job. He had to go live on his own. And his kids, oh man, I tell you, his kids are just, they are so smart. They're so well behaved. I remember Papa Art would give me a would give me a whipping if I misbehaved. He treated me like one of his own. Whooped me like his own too. And over the years, I tried to help them, and but I couldn't really do much. I mean, I was struggling. I can actually see the obelisk over there, the Washington obelisk. Pretty cool. I couldn't really do much financially. Once in a while, I would send them care packages and whatnot, but then not too long ago, maybe almost a year now, Art died, and but their kids, they went to school on a scholarship, basically just educated themselves. Unfortunately, opportunities in the Philippines are very hard, even with the high amount of education. In one particular, one kid named Victor, he's a newly graduate electronics engineer. He has yet to take the board exam though, but I'm hoping by God's grace, with confidence, that he will do well. So he's going to be soon, God willing, be a licensed engineer. And I'm trying to somewhat open up a building, electronics repair shop, and then on the background there will be a video editing. They can go and take videos of weddings, and believe it or not, in the Philippines, it's not uncommon for people to hire videographers to document their loved ones, and burials and wakes, but birthdays and weddings and occasions and whatnot, there are plenty of business for that. So I kind of offered them somewhat of a partnership, that if we could open up this building, and that would provide them. I'm really doing it for them. My goal really is not to make money out of this. My goal is just to see the joy of them making it. What would be a greater joy than to see someone succeed, you know? So I sent John a camera. I sent Victor a flute tester. I sent, and John's youngest sister is deaf and mute, and I sent her a Lenovo tablet. Oh, I tell you, they did a picture or a video and picture of Cindy playing with the tablet, and I don't know, how can you not cry watching the joy of a person playing a tablet for the first time? So, but pretty soon I'm also gonna send. I have a Sony CX675 that I rarely use. I'm gonna send that over there. I'm also gonna send a whole bunch of stuff. Hey, if you guys want to contribute to that cause for them, not for me, okay? I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for them. Just type in, I don't know, send whatever you can. Call it John's project. Let's call it at that. Oh, let's call it Yamba Project, because that's their last name, Yamba. It's Y-A-M-B-A. Y-A-M-B-A. Let's call it a Yamba Project, and who knows, you know, we could make that into a reality. Let me get this one thing straight. Nobody has to give. Nobody has to. I'm not pointing a gun at anybody's head. You can take it, leave it, live and let live. If you disagree, that's okay. That's your prerogative. But I personally think it's a worthy cause. That's just my opinion. It's gonna happen. I know it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of okay, we go straight. It's just gonna happen, but the more people will contribute, the faster it will happen. That's just a matter of time. If I was to do it, it's gonna take a long time. But, as I said, the more people involved, say, one of the things that I was gonna say is, I'm also gonna send them my drone. I've got my drone here, and I just really don't have the time for playing with it. And I know I don't have to. I mean, I can use it, when I have the time. But I think it's it will be put to better use if I was to send it to John and his brothers and sisters. Now, I told Victor, I said, Vic, you would be the only licensed engineer in the whole island to repair electronics. So I said, if you were to open up a business like a building and says, Victor Yamba, engineer Victor Yamba, electronics engineer Victor Yamba, licensed, with, you know, on your front door. And then, as I said, on the other part of the business is video editing and production. That would just really be, I think it would be sweet. By the way, Victor is also asking if you guys have junk electronic stuff, you know, like motherboards. If you have a microwave or a TV or whatever electronics that you have, take out the motherboards and, you know, the capacitors and whatever circuit board. Don't send the TV or the microwave. Just send the electronics. You can send it to JBG Travels, P.O. Box 1193, Sheboygan, Wisconsin 53083 or 82. Actually, the P.O. Box is on the description of each video. You can send your junk electronic stuff, and I think I would. There's a thing, it's called Balikbayan Box. It's very famous, and it's it's kind of a care package. In fact, this Balikbayan Box, because as you understand, a lot of Filipinos migrate throughout the world for work, and these Balikbayan Box are care packages from Filipinos overseas that they send back home. Now, Philippines is very, very expensive on import tax, but if you send it on this Balikbayan Box, it's tax-free. They had a big stink about this because a lot of people would send stuff to the Philippines and it would not go through customs, and honestly, I don't know how they can do it. I mean, they're not even opened. They're not inspected. So people can just send whatever they want, you know, which is a bad thing. But for the most part, majority of the Filipinos that are around the world, they send this Balikbayan Box to the Philippines with clothes, candies, spam. You would be imagined. It's hard to imagine that people would send spam to the Philippines. Chocolates, shoes, clothes, perfume, whatever you could think of. If it fits on that box, they send it. Google search or YouTube search Balikbayan Box, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Balikbayan Box would be spelled as B-A-L-I-K, and then second word is B-A-Y-A-N, Balikbayan box. Or you could just say it on the search engine if you can pronounce it. Balikbayan box. And you'll see a lot of Filipinos posting videos of items that they sell, and you can also see the size of the box. And the beauty about this system is you can put in anything you want as long as it's non-flammable, I suppose, and non-explosives, no guns and stuff, no contrabands, and there's no weight limit within reasons, I suppose. And here in the United States is about anywhere from $85 to $100 to send a box, and it takes about 3 months to get there, because what they do is, for example, in Chicago, in the Midwest, basically Chicago is the dumping ground for all the Balikbayan box for all the Midwest region. I'm talking about Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Michigan. People will send a Balikbayan box and they all go to Chicago, and in Chicago the forwarders will put it in a big 40-foot container and ship it on a ship. In fact, a couple months ago, my wife sent a Balikbayan box, and I mistakenly bought a tiny little air compressor from Walmart, and it absolutely does nothing for me. But seeing John has a motorcycle, that would really help him a lot. I bought him an impact wrench, I bought him a cordless drill, all kinds of stuff. Jiminy crickets, what's going on? 41 minutes, holy smokies. I've been dragging my videos way too long, don't I? Well, that's all I got for. I actually got a lot more, but I know a lot of you don't like this long dragging video. So, but anyway, that was a topic that's dear to my heart, and I hope you guys appreciate it. Let me know what you think. Write on a comment down below. Copy, or subscribe, comment, and share. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it, and I apologize for a little bit emotional today. But I get like that every time I think about the island and the people in the island, and especially John's family. Oh, Mama's calling. Gotta go. Love ya. Bye.
आगे जाते have the